Here we go, here we go, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in downtown Bakersfield. Turn that shit off, because it is I Love You, Say It Back. It's the podcast. I'm your host, Vic D. That is our producer. Eric, how you doing?
What it do?
How you feeling over there?
Doing good.
Was that a good video? I hope it was worth it. I hope it was worth interrupting the intro.
You know, I don't know if people are going to notice.
I'm fucking with you.
Okay.
But yeah, we are live. We are back here and got a fully loaded, exciting episode, which we got some things we need to clear up. We got some things that we need to talk about. So we are going to be hitting that right off the bat.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a conversation that's been long overdue. So we're going to get to it today. Should men feel guilty about male privilege, right? I think we can all acknowledge that there's certain things that guys can do without thinking twice that women have a lot more to consider. And we'll get into all those situations and all the details. And is there female privilege? And is maybe female privilege in ways better than male privilege? Like, right? You have this, we have this. I kind of would rather have this one. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into that. There's a new thing called Sexomnia. And I say new because it's new to me. It's almost like, I got a new car. Yeah, it's a 2018. What? Bitch, it's new to me, okay? You know what I'm saying?
It's been around since since the Pyramid of Giza days. They're like, hey, Cleopatra was walking around.
Yeah, she's driving that bucket. This shit ain't new.
Yeah.
But so we're going to get into
Still weird.
Sexomnia and what it is. And some pervert just made this shit up.
To justify why he has a problem in the middle of the night.
Exactly. It's like, it's not me, babe. It's Sexsomnia.
Yeah.
Crumbl Cookie is having a hell of a week, and I'll explain why. Shut the fuck up of the week is something that we just need to talk about more. Like, we need to acknowledge, and these people need to shut the fuck up, and there's a place for you, and it's not in the place that we're going to talk about. Talk about Cinco de Mayo stuff, another edition of Wanna Feel Old, the winner of the jackpot, baby reindeer conversations. We'll talk about that. If we have time, we'll get into some NFL draft and some Lakers stuff, which it's going to be short and sweet. It's more of a rant, like, what the fuck are we doing, Lakers kind of thing.
Yeah.
Working on a pretty exciting giveaway. So keep... I think actually we finalized that last night. So just be looking out on our socials at VicT Radio, at ILY Say It Back Pod. Also, check out our producer Eric at Life of Evera. And I mean, we just follow everything.
Yeah.
You know, we got everything going on.
And we just chugged some Define.
We are balls deep in Define.
The vibes are elite.
Vibes are elite.
That was
if
funny.
you don't believe it, go check out our Instagram story. And we have a great trivia question, which I think we're gonna stump you, Eric, but I think you're gonna be like, damn it. And I love those. Those are the best, where you're like, I knew it.
Yeah, I went on my 2-0 run, and I don't know if it ever happens again.
Yeah, that was insane. So we've tightened the screws after you got 2 out of 2 in a row. That was upsetting. But before we get into all that, let's get into our sponsors at Rev Nutrition. Thank you so much. If you are looking to make changes in your life, you know, Eric just said it. We just chugged a bunch of Define, and it's crazy because I think we both had pretty long nights. It's not even, we don't even have to acknowledge it anymore. Yeah. It's just like, that's just how it is. We're recording a little bit earlier today, so chugging that Define definitely gets your brain, like, what did I tell you? I was like, I chugged it, and I was like, bro, like, it's crazy how much my mind is just pop, 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 pop. So, and I think you kind of had something similar. So, you had that and an energy drink. So, he's going to be awake for the next 73 hours. So, you can find that. It's our favorite product. The podcast is literally powered by it. Rev Nutrition. Anywhere in Bakersfield, north, west, east, south, wherever you live, they got one close to you. And mention the podcast, 20% off. Get you some Define. Or maybe you're trying to lose weight. Maybe you're trying to gain weight. Protein, fat burners, everything you need, Rev Nutrition, they're the goats. Also, invest in your sleep, invest in yourself. Pair it up, do a little pair. You know, I'm going to get a new bed, and I'm going to get some Define. You're going to be a brand new person, guaranteed. You could almost look as good as this right here, all right? That's not a promise, but you'll get you one step closer. Quit looking at me like that, Eric.
I'm looking at the camera.
So yeah, go check it out. At the Mattress Space, Buck Owens Boulevard, best prices in town. Invest in your sleep. It's so important. Go check them out. Our buddy C's will take care of you. So let's get into this. I actually talked about this last night on Instagram because I was out for a run, as it's not uncommon for me to do. But I have been, over the years, I've gotten comments whenever I do. And they used to be a lot more. I think people just have gotten used to it. But I have gotten some recently where it just kind of reminds me about this whole male privilege thing. I go running and it'll be like 2, 3, 4 a.m., whatever it is. Either it's early morning or really late night after we finish whatever we're doing. And I'm like I just, the day kind of feels incomplete without doing something like a run or a workout or something, something. So it's like, that's, even if it's 3 miles, like it doesn't have to be a long run. It just has to be something that gets you going. But I noticed that when I do go running late at night, one of the things that I get is a lot women will respond and be like, hey, it must be nice to be able to go on a run late at night. It must be nice to just, decide, hey, I just finished up my work. It's late at night. I could still go for a run. And they're referring to male privilege as far as like, you don't have to worry about, I don't want to get too dramatic, but like getting abducted or getting
rape, kidnapped,
all these things,
murdered, whatever, human sex trafficking, all those things fall under the difference between a male and a female. Being out, traveling alone, running out late at night, running early in the morning. There's very documented stories of like the New York, the Central Park jogger, the girl. Remember that big story?
But I feel like it sounds to vaguely familiar.
She went on a run in Central Park. That big. I don't know if you've ever been to New York, but it's huge.
Yeah, it just covers all of New York
or that area. And she went running early in the morning. And I can't remember if it was late at night or early in the morning. One of the two. Anyway, she got the guy like grabbed her, raped her, murdered her. It was some yeah.
So all these things hit the airwaves and hit the news cycles, and of course we've talked about this. The news loves to push negative stuff. And in this case, it's a good thing because it makes women more aware and things like that. And they just feel like, oh, you have this privilege that I don't, because you can just get up and look, let's face it, like just because we're men doesn't mean that something still can't happen to us. But I do acknowledge, and I will for sure acknowledge, that men do have less to consider. When it comes to this, men do have I don't think twice. I think I'm done and I'm going to go for a run, and I don't really take into consideration, oh, something bad could happen to me. When women, that's probably all they could think is like, man, is a run right now even worth it? And I think that's male privilege in itself, where it's like, I could live free. I could live not thinking about what's the worst outcome that could possibly happen here. And again, that in itself, because let's face it, just because a woman goes out and runs doesn't necessarily mean anything is going to happen, especially if you're in a safer neighborhood and you're okay. It doesn't mean something's going to happen, but the fact alone that you have to think and consider, oh shit, this could be the worst thing. Something really terrible could happen, like what you were just mentioning. Guys don't consider that quite the same. So I think that's privilege in itself. And again, I acknowledge it. And it's funny because last night I went on my Instagram stories and I put up a poll. I said, should men feel guilty about their male privilege or exercising their male privilege, in the sense of, I can get up at night, go for a run, and not think twice. I can get up, decide I want to go to Montana. I want to go out of the states. I want to go to Arizona. I want to go to Wyoming, or hiking by myself, a solo trip. Solo hikes I think to me are some of the most spiritual. I really can, I could not enjoy it more. But for me, it's not even a thought. I just get up and I'm like, I need mountains. I need green. A woman can do that, but she has a lot more to consider. And it's sometimes the risk doesn't always outweigh the reward for them. So they're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. Probably not smart for me to do that. So I talked about it last night. I said, should men feel guilty? So I put up a poll, and I think overwhelmingly women said no. But the responses that I got, it was almost like a uniform response. It was almost like all these women knew each other and wanted to give the exact same response. You know what that response was? It's like, no, you should not feel guilty about having your male privilege, exercising your male privilege. We just want you to acknowledge that there is male privilege, right? Like, I'm able to do things that women have to consider a lot more than men. And I feel like that's more so, it's like wanting to be heard. Like, hey, acknowledge that you have this that we don't have. Acknowledge that you are able to do this. It's almost like, I don't want to go to your party, but I want to be invited. I'm going to be upset if I don't get invited. But if I do get invited, I don't really want to go. You know what I'm saying? They just want to be heard.
I get it. I don't know if this is where I'm gonna get slack out, but I just don't think it. I think it's one of those unspoken things. Like, I don't think it has to be acknowledged. I think it's already naturally acknowledged through an everyday life. But they said don't feel guilty. So I don't think you should feel guilty about male privilege, because we all know what male privilege is. We're men. We're part of this group of there's a line separated with men and women, or male and females, that we already know that we have, and that women already know we have. Why does it have to be necessarily acknowledged?
Well, because I think
there's an understanding of where it is and where that line's drawn and where it comes from. So I think it's more so a woman thing, like, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. It's like when, a girl says something and they're like, no, I'm fine. And you're like, you're not fine.
You're not fine.
But it has to be acknowledged, in that way. So I don't think it's necessarily, but I do get the feeling and the emotion behind it. But it's more so, I don't want to say it's a hating thing. It's more of a I wish we had that. I wish we got to do that. Think of it this way. I feel like it's rich versus poor, right? Rich people and poor people know there's a line in the sand, right? Mm-hmm. You guys get to do these things that we on the poor side can't. You don't need to acknowledge it, because we see it, you see it, you know what the difference is. And you guys get to spend money, travel, dress nicer, drive better cars, not have as much worries about bills or whatever. You see what I'm saying? The reference? I think no one needs to acknowledge it. We all know what it is. But do we want the rich to be like, hey, say that you're more privileged than us, and then we'll feel a little bit more okay. Don't act like that,
like y'all, like we have the same struggles.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's within that, but I mean, all within the same thing. This is where I have the issue with the whole male female divided line thing. Women have a lot of female privilege as well.
So we are going to get to that before, and yeah, that was the next thing we're going to hit on. But just to finish up that last thought. So I know it sounds, and I think you're very conscious of it, but I think a lot of people, males, and I'll include myself in this.
Yeah.
Like, how you said, I think people already kind of know, it's understood. Sometimes I don't until it was brought to my attention, like by women, I don't think that I really took that into consideration. I'm like, man, I wish everybody did this.
Yeah.
And then it was more of like an ignorance or maybe a failure to relate to women in that sense, where it was like, damn, like they do have more to consider. And honestly, if it wasn't brought to my attention or forced to be like, look, you can do this, well, here's why I can't do it. It was just like, it kind of opened my eyes, and I was like, damn, that is kind of shitty, that, something that I enjoy so much. So I think what they feel is like, it's not acknowledged. So for you, it is, because you maybe think about it. You're like, oh, I'm going on a solo trip, or I'm going for a run, or whatever the case is. Yeah. You're like, it's cool that I get to do this, and you acknowledge it. But I think a lot of people don't. I will include myself. This is what the advantage of having a female audience is. You get to kind of see the other point of view.
Yeah, and I get where you're coming from. I think also it's understanding who people are. Like, if I listen to you, I get why you think and feel that way, because not in a bad way. I'm like, oh, okay, I see why you're like, oh, I never connected it like that, because you're kind of and you're more in your masculine. We're like, I'm gonna go play some baseball, softball, no, baseball, yes, whatever it is, right? Because you're already in the understanding of like, I'm doing male things. You're down to your core with that. Like you're like, I want to be with the boys. I want to watch basketball games. I want to
eat steak.
I want to be gambling. You know, but honestly, and then you look at me, I'm like, I'm doing different things, right? So,
well, but I mean, let's not you're at the club with the boys too.
No. I'm saying like
you're at the boxing matches.
I'm saying that I still connect the female side when I do things. So, example, I go on a hike. I see a girl on the hike that I'm on, but solo by herself. I'm like, what is that girl doing by herself on this hike, like on this mountain? Because I'm thinking there's weirdos on these hikes that are literally just probably following. And I connect stories I've seen on, you know, I remember there's a story. This girl was on a hike in Peru, and her travel guide actually ended up raped her and threw her off her mountain and thought he killed her. She survived.
Oh hell.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that where I'm like, there's no scenario where a girl cannot be fully conscious of like, I'm a female. That's a man. Men are sexually driven in certain ways, and you'll never know. They can seem like a great person and then fucking rape, kill you, you know? So I'm just aware of it, and I've traveled literally to different states and cities on the fly where I don't have an Airbnb or hotel, where I'll travel to Hawaii or Colorado, do road trips, and sleep in my car on the side of the road randomly every night. And I'm fully conscious when I pull over, I'm like, a girl can't do this. And I told you before we got on, the most comments I get on my solo travels are from females, like, oh, you're so lucky you get to do that. I can't. We can't do that. Blah, blah. And it's true. It's 100% true when I explain traveling. Like,
well, that's the whole reason that I brought this topic up. It's
exactly.
Because I, get the same messages. True. It is absolutely true. But the truth is, I think there's a lot more people like me than there are people like you who are fully connected. That's why. That's where I feel like they're upset. They're like, yeah, you guys get to do all these things, and you guys get to enjoy all these things that we have to think twice about. And they're bothered by the fact that we don't almost like appreciate it. Yeah. Now, let's flip the coin. Let's
get it.
Hey, women are like, hell yeah, I love these boys. Yeah. These guys are the greatest.
We're coming at you
they're
now.
Finally coming around and understanding. Hold up. Yeah. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? Can we acknowledge, though?
Because we just want you guys to acknowledge as well.
Yeah. Like, let's not pretend like this is a one-sided coin here.
And I feel like the acknowledgement is way more deeper on our end for women to acknowledge there's a lot more female privilege than male privilege.
Ooh, a lot more? That's going to be controversial.
No, and again, there's certain stances where there shouldn't be, I don't feel like there should be an argument about men. We are naturally in a more dominant space of, say, work in different areas. So we've talked about the reference to male sports versus female sports. It's nothing against female sports. Male sports are more driven by excitement and viewership that bring in a lot more money in their areas of focus of sports. Football. Are you going to watch a female football game? Not probably as much as you're going to watch an NFL football game. Do you watch WNBA more than you watch NBA?
No.
Exactly. And if you do the difference on what's bringing in more money, there's no way the WNBA can ask for exact amount or percentage that an NBA male player gets. And now let's flip it back to the female privilege stuff. There's a lot more leniency that women get in life in certain areas and things that we don't get. You know?
Okay, so that's what I was going to come around to. So acknowledging that there is female privilege and listing some of those situations in which what is something that you consider to be a female privilege that men don't have. And I want to think just a couple, we can spitball these and talk about, like, is it almost better? Like, does it balance out? Is it like, okay,
that's
you get this, we get this. Is it even? Or is there one that has more of an advantage than the other?
Yeah, and I will say this when we speak on this topic. There's a lot of women that do not take advantage of certain female privileges.
Absolutely.
They're very in tune morally and hold down to their values and their core of who they are, what they do. They work their 9 to 5s. They go to school, get their degrees, have their own car, own house. Single moms, blah blah blah. So this isn't saying 100% of women. So I feel like
Nah,
we should.
it's funner if you say 100% of women. That's how you get. That's how you poke the
yeah,
bear. You got to
yeah.
tell them, all you
Disclaimer,
girls,
we're not talking about
get off OnlyFans.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, that's something that there's
female
female
legitimate.
privilege.
So we, what's one? Okay, let's just go with the simplest one. I think stay-at-home mom. You know what I'm saying? How great would it be to be a stay-at-home dad with your kids all day? I think it'd be amazing and dope to have that as the experience. I mean, outside of building your life to where like, hey, I don't have to worry about these financial issues. I get to be with my family all day. I think being a mom is very hard. I think being a woman could be very hard. But I also think the benefits of being a mom are being able to get the most out of those experiences with some of the most important pieces. And maybe it's not looked at that way till later in life, but if you're a stay-at-home mom, you get to raise your kids all day. The guys, the men, they don't get to be home all day. They work to provide and keep that safe place at home for their family, their wife and kids. And sometimes it's wake up, get your breakfast, go to work, come home. And we have friends like this, or so many scenarios where it's broadcasted, documented throughout, different platforms of the world where men come home tired. They barely get enough time to spend with their kids. Their kids probably already asleep. They might have dinner ready. Maybe they don't. And then it's in that cycle of I don't know how long. And then they get their vacation. They get to spend family time. But at the end of the day, we don't get the same quality time that women get to give to those special moments.
So let me now, neither one of us is female with a kids, but I do know that the argument that someone who's in the car listening right now, they're going to say, well, you go work your 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. He's like, they argue that it is harder to be a stay-at-home mom. It's more of a full-time, you stay-at-home mom? Okay, yep. I got to take care of the kids. Yeah. I got to cook. I got to do the laundry. Yeah. I got to do this, yep. that, and the other, and make sure that these kids are being raised right.
Yep.
At the same time, while all you have to worry about for the most part is going to do your job and spending whatever time you can with the kids afterwards. So it goes back
I'm
to
not,
pros
I'm
and
not
cons.
arguing that. I think it's very hard to be a mom. I have the most up love and respect for my mom. She is the queen of like our world. She is given everything and every sacrifice to be a mom to me and my siblings, and commit us as her priority. I still trip out. Like, and we've got emotional on this podcast about our moms. My mom has given everything all the way even up to today, where it's wild to me that my mom will still cook breakfast and dinner or whatever for around. She makes our favorite things, and it's a yes for us all the time. So I'm not taking away from that it's hard to be a mom. I'm just saying you get to keep those moments. I would love to do the laundry. I'm one of those people who will do it anyway. I was married, I did laundry, I did cook, I did clean. I shared those same things in the household. So it also depends on what kind of relationship you're holding within that space, So there's men that do those things as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, we could talk exceptions and anomalies all day. But,
exactly.
But I think the point that I want to get to is, so let's move away because we spent a lot of time on the feet. So what's another example of it? What's another? What's another example of?
Let me get one from you.
Okay, so I was thinking that one's a very deep one. It's a very because it's super layered and there's so many well, you get to do this versus we get to do that, which I agree. Like I think to wrap up the point on the stay-at-home mom and dad thing, I think if men try to be like, yeah, I will take it, like it's gonna be looked at as weird. It's like, why don't you want to go work? Why don't you want to go work? It's like they can say, yeah, it's actually harder to be a stay-at-home mom. But it's like, okay, how about you go to work and you go work 8 hours or 10 hours or whatever, and I'll stay home and do everything. They're gonna be like, no, that's bullshit. But there is also that side of the coin.
And then you look at the male standard of what a male is supposed to do and what they're supposed to upkeep as men. And then if you directly correlate that to male privilege, that's why I say it doesn't necessarily need to be acknowledged. We're supposed to be these people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Our male privilege doesn't come from like, oh shoot, another man is not gonna try to overtake me physically in these spaces. You know, we have that advantage as men, and we're protectors. So I feel like that's out the window when it comes to male privilege, even though it is a male privilege. So what is one of your?
So I was
female?
thinking more less on like, because I don't think that running. I mean, the consequences of it could be like catastrophic, but I think it's very more like
We get to live our life more freely. Let's put it that way. As men.
And I think I was trying to think of like examples of like what are some female privileges. I think there's no like. Here's a great example. I can't tell you how many speeding tickets in my I think 4 or 5.
Nice.
Now it's been years, but I can't tell you how many females that I've talked to that they're like, oh yeah, I got pulled over this night,
and not even undid one of the buttons,
dude. Not even speeding. I'm talking about like they were buzzed.
DUI. Oh yeah, I've had friends get out DUIs,
and
bro.
all of a sudden they're like, I was like, oh my gosh, so you're screwed. And they're like, no, he let me go. I think that there's no fucking
Hey cutie,
shot.
you have a good night.
There's no shot. Me or you or it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Could ever even have a chance.
Yeah.
If I'm driving drunk, I'm screwed. You know.
Yeah. Unless that cop's a little, has a little sugar in his tank, for you.
But so I think that's a good example of like, okay, there's some certain advantages.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
You have a shot to this. We have no shot. And someone told me this because it's a disadvantage that women can manipulate into their advantage. Let me explain. So one of these is at work, where like they were explaining how work they don't get taken as serious at work, right? Clear, let's call that disadvantage. They may have to work harder for whatever, but there's also ways to kind of take the shortcut if you want to get grimy about it. But here's the other part. The second part to that is they said, I have the convenience or the advantage of like, look, y'all already don't take me serious. I can play dumb. I can act like, the whole like what's hot right now in the streets is like, I'm just a girl. Like, I didn't notice it. I didn't, they're like, oh, well, of course she didn't notice. She's just a girl. Like, so it's almost like manipulating situations into where it's like, oh, well, something that you could have screwed up. You could have forgot to do something. It's like, if you're a man, it's like, you got to be on top of your shit. Why didn't you do this? Or it's like a girl would just be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I totally spaced out. I just I have my blonde moments and shit like that. You think I could tell somebody at the radio station or at any job that I've had to be like, oops, sorry, I had my blonde moment.
I didn't know that.
They'd be like, shut the fuck up. They're like, you're fired.
Yeah. Can we get, is that all you have? Can we get a little bit more serious in here?
We'll get as serious as you want to get it.
Okay, let's talk about real female privilege and why we're probably talking about the dynamic of male privilege. Male privilege is really there because we're pretty much saying women can't do certain things because men take advantage of having that male privilege being a dominant factor of that side. Also, same reason why women have female privilege is because they could take advantage of who men are and what they're driven by, what society's driven by, and what is that? Sex. It's on the top of the food chain of why men go about a lot of their lives a certain way.
I love that you bring this up.
So let's go into this. We don't have female privilege is more dominant than ours, I feel like, because we have to work the 9 to 5s. We have to find a way to pay our bills. And the typical standard way of I gotta go work this labor job or this and that. If a woman really, really gets down and out and bad, there's options. And I'm not saying like these are good options. I'm not saying every female's this way. But you start looking at social media, you start looking at some people that you didn't think were certain ways in your city or wherever it may be. They're taking advantage of it. And women, I don't care what you say. I've been around enough. I have very close friends that are involved in certain areas of work, like whether it's OnlyFans or other things. Women could go to a strip club and I know really like good people since high school. Like women, like, oh man, she's a shy girl, blah blah. Blah. Hit a rough patch as a single mom and didn't know, but hey, look who's at Showgirls, you know?
Quick, easy,
Easy money
and lucrative.
Fast money. I'm talking, I have girlfriends that had told me they've made like 10 racks in a month being a cocktail waitress. Like, I'm in like and they're probably giving like their little quick lap dances like in the room. I don't know, but they're not strippers. They're just serving drinks, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah, right?
they give it a different name to
Exactly. Let's just take the tail out of that word, you know? But no, seriously, then you have OnlyFans. Can you start a fucking OnlyFans and just post yourself in lingerie if you wanted to, or boxers, and make some money? No, I mean, you probably can, but who's going to be your viewers? It's not going to be women, you know? And
well, here's so to emphasize your point, they've been able to take advantage of men's, for lack of a better word, like horniness, and turn it into, you know, money and
change the terms in the diagram of like what it is. Let me throw this one last topic and go in on it. The biggest one, all this is this: sugar babies. It's dominated our society, and it's also it's been made to look like it's a good thing or cool and blah blah blah. And then we're not gonna go into this side of it. These women that take advantage of these things, they're also the same women that are saying, why can't I find a good man, when their reputation has been flawed through knowing and understanding they've had manipulated this system of men's sex drive.
Yeah, they've been with creeps, and then it's like, do you think that, like, do you realize where you live?
Yeah.
But people find out. Like, I wonder if they're like, yeah, I'm a sugar baby for this guy, or you know, these vacations that you're on where you post you're by yourself, and then on the other side of that camera is some weirdo's.
Well, yeah, we've seen the reflection on that skyscraper restaurant steak tinted window.
You look really good, baby.
Yeah.
Here's $500.
Oh, bro, have you ever been in Vegas and you see like these bad women, and then like you see this old fat halfway bald guy like that looks like he stinks from 30 feet away, and like walk in through the casino one, and you're like, oh god, there's no way they're together. Like,
and then they are
in some fashion.
So it's just like, so to your to your point about like, they do want to, you know, take advantage of these sugar babies and these situations that it's just like, yo, we can acknowledge that like that's kind of like grimy, and and you just can't play both sides of the coin where it's like, I can't find me a good man, and it's just like, well, people know what you're doing, so you can't do that while also expecting this, and you know, that's kind of
and on the male female privilege, what I'm trying to get to with this. We don't have the advantage of being, when we're down and out and in a really low point, we have to go back to the basics of what society is. Let me go get a job. I'm going to go sell some shoes. I'm going to, at Foot Locker, I'm going to go get an oil field job. I got to go work at FedEx or UPS. And again, this is not speaking to all women. There's some really dope, cool women that are strict on their core values and are doing it, a lot of things the right way. But I will say there's a lot of women that act like they're not, and they live a certain life, but they're taking advantage of every shortcut they can, and their bank account's looking a lot better than mine. I guarantee it.
We're doing a lot less work. And it's like all these trips, all these vacations. It's like, that's female privilege.
That's
like,
privilege.
let's not sit here. Like, do you know how much I would love for a sugar mama to be like, oh, I want to go to a hiking trip to Colombia.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, go ahead. I'll take care of that. I'll take care of your place to stay, your flight, and here's an extra $2,000 for you to spend out there. Have fun. I'd be like, mother. What do you want me to do, mama?
Bro, I'm going to say this real. Okay, I know this person's never going to know who. No one's going to know who this person is, but someone had told me, and I think you might know the story. I don't know. Someone hit her up, would pay her to go out and eat and hang out with her. Then they kind of like, I don't want to say con this dude, but this guy was married, so it's not like a bad situation where he's like a good dude. But he was paying these girls to hang out, blah, blah, blah. But they pretty much like brought in the situation of another friend so she could get money from him. Then he found out, but before he found out, they made him feel bad. Like, oh, wow, you're trying to talk to me and my friend. This dude dropped like 10 racks on different purses and stuff for this person, right? Paid trips, blah, 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 all done. And then he's like, I don't want to do this no more. You guys are shady. I found out you guys are blah, 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 and blocked them. But not before there's like $8,000 of purses, like I'm talking like nice purses, you're talking YSL, Louis Vuitton, whatever the else of crap, and 3-4 different like exotic vacations, Airbnb paid for, and the plane ticket, already said and done, bro. And you'll never know. And all these are like, oh, I worked hard for my stuff. And like, nah, I don't know. And a lot of you do, but a lot of you don't.
Yeah. You know? And, I think the more connected, the more smaller your city is, the more like, I don't know why you even try to front. Sometimes when it's just like, I never seen you post anything at work. And, what is it that you do? But,
and even if they do, it's like, wait, I seen you like working at a desk job at H&R Block. Like, there's no way you can
tax season's only a couple months.
Yeah.
No. So just to put a bow on this, because we could do the whole episode on this, but male, do you think if you were a male, if you had the choice, right? Because I think at this point we can acknowledge there's male privilege, there's female privilege. Which would you rather have? Is there a definitive like? Because I get crap and I do feel guilty about it.
No.
But I'm like, man,
I'd rather have female privilege. 100%.
Would you?
Oh, 100%. Bro, I tell girls all the time, if I had titties, I'm selling those things all day. I'm selling titty pics. I don't care.
Oh yeah, we have a joke. We have a joke between our friends. We're like, dude, if I was a girl, like I'd be a fucking slut.
I don't know if I'd be a slut. I don't know if I'd be a slut, but I guarantee there's guys all day paying $100 just to see.
Oh, you'd be a slut. Yeah, you'd be a slut.
I don't know, bro.
I'd be showing those titties all day, but I wouldn't be a slut.
Would you be? Would you be sleeping with dudes for money? Would you be like? What categorizes a slut for you, bro? Because I would be getting the trip. And here, let me say this: I'm not knocking into these women that
find
do
a way
it.
to clip this.
Yeah. I'm not knocking into the women that do these things, like necessarily. But if you're a close person in my life, close friend, or if I'm talking to you, I'm definitely gonna be like, "Yo, why you doing that?" You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the end of the day, if the roles are reversed, bro, I'm selling those titty pics. You know?
We used to have our bowling, like our little group. We're always with the boys, and whether you're on a golf course or you're doing just anything, and you drinking, you're like, and you get a little horned up. You're like, man, I wish I was a girl. I could just pick any one of you motherfuckers. I know y'all would sleep. I'd be slurping. I'd be anytime I want.
That one video. Remember, I think you said to me where she swings and he's like, he's like, nice tits.
Nice tits. Nice shot.
Yeah. So I will say this: there's another male privilege that we don't talk about. We get to be a little bit more open sexually than women because it's just, again, we're men. We're allowed to be that, right? Remember the videos and reels where it's like if women were catcalling men and guys are like, why don't do that to me, you know? Mm-hmm. But it's true. It might be not something that is good to look at or do, but it's more
an acknowledgement.
It's more acceptable for a guy to be like, hey, look at those, than a girl to be like, look at the bulge in those pants, like it just doesn't.
I've never gotten that in my life.
Yeah.
But
so it's a thing.
So yeah, and absolutely. And I think we were just talking about it like briefly, like you guys were cleaning all night and there's a mess in here. Like you guys were doing like a deep clean, which everybody knows before it gets clean, it gets dirtier.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the stage that you're at right now. And it's just like, I didn't walk in and be like, these guys are fucking filthy pigs. These guys, you just like it's just boys being boys, that whole thing. And even though that whole line has been like canceled for the most part, and I agree, it should be like, because the shit that people were getting away with back in the day, it's just totally unacceptable. Like, oh, it's just boys being boys. They're just groping and grabbing it. Shut the fuck up. Like, that's nasty. Yeah. And so it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, yes, I agree. I feel bad. I feel guilty, but I can also acknowledge that there's two sides of that coin. And whether or not I would rather have male privilege or female privilege, I don't know if it's necessarily like which one I would rather have. I just think that they're so different.
I feel like in today's society, you can be both now.
Yeah, well,
technically.
There is a way. There's absolutely a way.
The second half of my life, I'm going to do female privilege. Put it that way.
By 35, I'm going to get to female privilege. Moving on to, because, we're wrapping up. Yeah, we're that one was going to take up the whole damn podcast if we let it. And we could, honestly. But we had a couple other things that we wanted to get to. So there was a new thing, and this is one of these things that's like, there's certain studies or certain things that come out, research that you just look at and you're like, all right, somebody's fucking with us. You know, like, come on now. Like, I don't really believe this. But apparently it's true. There's a new thing that came out that was from like a doctor. I don't know what school, but it was basically like it's sexsomnia, right? And if you're wondering what the hell is sexsomnia, allow me to elaborate. So basically, you know how people like sleepwalk? Well, this is basically sleepwalking. You're doing these things in your sleep, so you're not awake and conscious, but you're waking up in the middle of the night. If you are sleeping with someone or next to someone, then you could, be trying to start like sexual, activities in your sleep, or you're walking around, you're waking up and you're like wanking it in the kitchen, you're doing sleepwalking. It's like sexual activities.
Yeah.
For females, the same thing. Like, it's like male and females, apparently it affects. So sexsomnia, and it's one of these things like, bro, you know how much of a cop-out this is going to be to any dude now? Going to wake up in the middle of the night, and he's going to be like, damn, I'm a little horny. And be like, hey.
Just keep your eyes
girl.
closed and...
I'm just going to tell everybody I was sleeping the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just one of these, like, doctors. Probably like a doctor who had a homie who's like, dog, I just got caught, like in the middle of the night.
Note.
Can you create some kind of study where it's like it's gonna get me out? It's like, my friend, actually, there's a condition for that, and we should all feel sorry for you.
I fell asleep in the movie theaters during that scene, and I woke up with my whatever.
Yeah,
Pee-wee Herman.
It's called sexsomnia. Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be such a cop out where it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Neither
think
did I, but I thought it was
creepy.
interesting.
I think some pedophile probably came up with that one. Some weird.
Pedo is deep, but imagine like, me and you slept in the same bed when we were in Miami. We had the same room. Imagine if I was like right before we laid down, and I was like, hey, by the way, pal, psst, hey, just a little warning. Sometimes I get a little sexomnia.
Hey, you wake up at 3 a.m. I'm sleeping on the ground or outside. It's funny. Joe, when he was here, I think I told you, he was like, "You guys got lucky. You guys got the back room." And he's like, I was next to JG in their room. I couldn't sleep all night.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
funny.
it's fucking crazy. Yeah. But yeah, sexomnia. So if you're wondering why your man's or your woman is waking up in the middle of the night and they're doing some freaky activities, it's not their fault. Okay. That's all. It's
don't blame them.
Accept the information. They are victims. Yeah. They're victims.
Male privilege.
This is human privilege now.
That's pretty transparent.
I'm gonna use that. I wanted to talk about this. Are you a Crumbl Cookie fan?
If I'm being honest, I don't even think I've ever had Crumbl. I remember when it came to town, people were like jumping on it, and I was like, oh, that seems cool. But I don't think I have ever went. I think, you know what? I think someone brought Crumbl Cookies as like, hey guys, I brought Crumbl Cookies.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll try
a flex because they're expensive as hell.
Yeah, I think I grabbed a piece of one or tried it, and that was about it.
You want to see what I can afford?
Yeah.
Here's a 4-pack. I was like, damn, he's balling.
Oh, wow, that's my mortgage.
Yeah, you must be a sugar baby. Okay, that's enough.
How many titty pics did you send for that one?
Okay, so if there's a week to try it, you piece. If there's a week to try it, it is this week. This is my favorite cookies.
Oh, this week.
The churro, because I don't know if you understand the concept.
I love churros.
The concept of Crumbl is they have new flavors every week. So if you miss it, it's gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like they don't have like, oh, this is our menu. They have every
no
week
way.
it changes. I promise you.
There's not one cookie that stays during that week.
Chocolate chip. There's chocolate chip is like the only one that stays always. But every week, that's why you have to like look it up. It's kind of fun. It's like, oh, what are the flavors this week? And this week they have a churro flavor, which is absolutely hands down by far my favorite. I was gonna bring some.
Bro, the churros at Stagecoach, and I know for a fact they're the exact same ones at Coachella. So the churros at Coachella, hands down, 100%, no cap. Best churro I've ever had in my life.
That's crazy. Are you sure you weren't just like dehydrated and had eaten?
Oh,
like 3 days?
No. Last year, day one, where I've like was literally just not even drinking. Like I drank gallons of water, but I might not even had a beer yet.
That's a flex too, because
Bro.
I know those waters are like $18.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't drink the ones at Coachella. They're at camping. But what I'm saying is, I had a sober churro, but I'm not lying, bro. I spent at least like $60 on churros within the 3 days at Coachella. I'm not lying.
Well, that's worth it though. That's like
It
going
is,
to a ballpark.
But they're good. Oh yeah, you know what? Ballparks might have, but what I'm saying, they're good, bro. Like churros are some of my favorite, and they're not there no more. Costco had some fire churros too.
That's heartbreaking.
By the way, I tried the cookie. My mom brought one home.
Was it good?
It was.
I feel like they
actually
would
good.
do
They were
really
massive,
good.
but they were good.
Yeah. So getting back to the Crumbl cookies, the churro is, if you haven't tried it, and this is not a endorse or anything like that. This is just something that I've Crumbl's been weak the last like 2 months. The flavors that they've been putting out just hasn't been doing it. It's just weak ass shit. But this week, it's like they're making up. They're like, sorry about the last 2 months. We're putting out all the bomb flavors this week. So they have obviously a chocolate chip. That's just incredible. Churro, please go try it and then thank me later. Blueberry muffin, I don't know. Doesn't look great to me. But listen to this. Peanut butter munch, that looks amazing. Triple chocolate, I've tried, is really good. So that's 3 out of, I think, like 5 or 6 flavors that they put out every week. This week, it feels like they're making up for the last 3 months. So I'm excited about Crumbl Cookie this week. So if you haven't tried it, like Eric, this is the week to do it. Maybe I'll, you're going to be gone. But I was going to say, we can try some later. They're only up, and they're closed. I believe they're closed on Sundays.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like a Chick-fil-A of cookies?
Yeah.
Huh.
I could be way wrong, but I think that's what it is. And then they restart the flavors on Monday. So there you go. You got you're on a running clock. You ready to get into our shut the fuck up of the week?
Mm-hmm.
You got something?
No, you go first.
I will go first. This is something that I experienced, and it's not the first time I've experienced it. We've experienced this before. This is nothing new. But it certainly was, you know, when you kind of go through something and you go through it again and you're like, your eyes are open to, you're like, this is not fair. This is injustice. The other night we were watching the NFL draft. We were at Vatos, and we ended up going to right next door to grab another drink after, and then we ended up going to do some karaoke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me just tell you, as a person who is vocally challenged when it comes to singing, and I know I love to be like, yeah, I can sing. Yeah, I fucking can't sing if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, we know.
Karaoke, people who can sing karaoke, people who can actually sing really good, karaoke is not for you. Local bar karaoke is not for you. Shut the fuck up. You go up there and you're like, and I will. It's like, bro, what are you doing? We're going up there. Me and my buddies are going up there. We're like, it wasn't me. So they get man as you come right and then the guy comes on and he's like, life is one big party when you're still young. And then nobody knows the lyrics and we're just like laughing and having a good time and everybody's watching like, what are these boys doing? It's like, hey, if you're good at singing, karaoke is not for you. There's a place for you. It's called American Idol. It's called The Voice. It's called America's Got Talent. This local karaoke spot, this is for us who can't hold a note, who can't stay on key, who can't remember the lyrics even though the lyrics are right in front of the screen. If you can sing karaoke and you're going to local bars, you know what that's called? That's called showing off. That's not even having fun. It's like, well, you want to go see me do this to these nerds? Like, it's like, bro, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but let's be honest, bro. The most appreciated people when you go to karaoke are the ones you're like, yo, that was good.
No, I
Bro,
I want to go have fun.
Yeah, but when we were at that one spot and that one girl went up, we were watching the game when you guys won your point, whatever bet you put on the game, the basketball game. Remember we were all there for what's name's birthday?
I don't.
Down the street.
Here?
Yeah, it was down the street.
Wrong bitch, wasn't me.
No, bro, me, you, and Daniel was there. Joel was there. Oh no, Steve's was there. I think. Who else was over there? It was a couple of us. Donnie ended up being there.
At 18 or at
whatever
18th
it is.
Street.
By Smith. Yeah. So that one girl went up. She could sing. Like she was doing, and you're like, we're like, ah!
Well, yeah, but don't make me feel bad because I can't keep up with that. You know, you set
Yeah.
a standard, you set a
Like-
bar. You're like, all right, great, but also don't look down at me.
But what about? I think you appreciate this. What about the girl that is a really good like mariachi singer and she's a random person at a party or even karaoke and goes up, kills it on the song.
Nah,
I love
okay.
that.
So then that for you, there's The Voice, there's American Idol, or go join a mariachi or start your own band. Karaoke's for the folks who are half drunk and like, that's what karaoke is. We were literally sitting there and someone who couldn't sing, doing it right, who couldn't sing, couldn't hold the note. They were like out there having the ball, having the time of their life. And me and Joel looked at each other. We're like, now that's karaoke. That is local bar, dive bar. Pour the drinks too strong at a local dive bar. That's karaoke. That's doing it right. And then some other comes up after, and they were like, it's like, what? You're an asshole.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Get on that TV show because this ain't for you. You're at the wrong place.
That guy packs his stuff, leaves the
People who are too good at karaoke or people who are too good at singing. Karaoke is not for you. Shut the fuck up.
For some East Siders, real quick. This I'm not gonna go for. Man, this is super nostalgic. There used to be karaoke night at Pizza Hut off of Auburn and Oswell when we were
Pizza
kids.
Hut?
Yeah, when we
Is
were
that
kids.
even legal? Did they run
yeah.
that through corporate?
Yeah, but
This is East Side activities
bro,
for sure.
it was so cool. And there's this girl named Amber. She was like my first girlfriend as a kid, and she could sing. Like this girl could sing, and we used to all go there as kids. And I'm talking like 8, 9, 10, 11 type of thing. And we would go there, bro. We're singing Backstreet Boys. And me and my brothers would even go. It was fun as kids. But as I got older, I said, there's no way I'd jump on a mic like that.
Really?
Yeah, and that's the story of that. But I used to love karaoke. It's funny because there is a story when I used to like enjoy that. But we're kids. It's not something I would do now. I don't want to hear bad singing all the time either.
Well, but that's when you're half drunk, you do. That's when it's fun. And you want to do it. You're like, fuck it, give me the mic. I'm doing it. And then it's like you realize that you only know like the chorus of the song. That's when it's hilarious.
But
You're like,
I'm traumatized too, bro. My dad thinks he's a superstar. My dad's pretty up there in like this karaoke world where you'd probably be like, go somewhere else. My dad goes to Vegas to do karaoke, bro.
no shit.
I'm talking about dressed in a tuxedo, bow tie.
Oh, he's a performer.
Yeah, it's that's my dad, bro. And he's singing up there, and it's always me and my brothers is doing this. Like, oh god, what is this guy doing?
Y'all are
But he's not a
embarrassed.
bad
He's
singer.
fucking crushing it.
It's not that he's a bad singer either. He actually does really well. It's just for us, it's almost like hearing your sister or like brother start a rap album, and you're like, sounds weird, but everyone likes it, I guess. You know? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
And everyone who's like over 60, they're like, hell yeah, you know about your papa? He's the best around. Like it's like he's like a celebrity in that world.
Yeah, you're
and
looking
just
at people that
come
like,
on.
wow.
Single
Yeah.
tear running down their cheek.
Yeah.
Kind of beautiful. Kind of beautiful.
My wait, that's your shut the fuck up.
That's my shut the fuck. People who are too good at karaoke, local dive bar karaoke is not for you.
I'll do this. This is something that I wasn't on this bandwagon back in the day, but I actually have some proof of it right now. But
Oh, speaking of proof,
this argument right here. This is an iPhone and a Samsung. Like
Okay.
I have two different phones. One's an Android, one's iPhone.
One's a green Texas.
Yeah. So, but I didn't jump to iPhone till I started Bakersfield Bike Rentals. I wanted to transfer everything in a business space where everything worked together.
Yeah, it's easier.
And and I was a big believer, and I was on this hard. You couldn't. I would argue my point. Android isn't better than. Don't get me wrong. They have their space, but if you try to act like Android is superior to
Oh,
iPhone,
this could be a whole topic in itself. The people who are like
shut the fuck up.
up, yeah,
it is
like
what
all
it
the way up.
This is where it's
I'm
at.
sorry, Donnie, if you're listening, because I have had many battles with Donnie.
I still have an Android, by the way, people. But it's only because I haven't upgraded this Android and this phone line to iPhone because these iPhones are expensive as shit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So people who swear that Android And it's not like you could be like in the middle. It's not like the people who are Android people are like, yeah, I can kind of see, you know, it's like they hate iPhone.
Yeah.
Like they're like, no, I'm not gonna follow the crowd. I'm going to you all are sheep and you guys. It's like what the it's like we're just making our lives easier. You're not compatible with anything. Go ahead and try to send me that picture and let me try to, you know, it's like all blurry as hell. The videos are like pixelated and horrible. It doesn't transfer. It's like, what are we doing?
But I will say this. There is a lot of areas where Android is superior than iPhone.
Absolutely.
But-
Absolutely. I won't deny
Yeah.
that one bit.
Yeah, and I'm throwing that out there only also because you see the lawsuit going on right now with iPhone, right?
What is it?
Or with Apple, saying they're a monopoly, and that they've pretty much taken over so much of the tech world and phone industry that like places like Google, Samsung, and these other tech companies are saying we're not benefiting in this space no more because
Yeah, then get the fuck out.
yeah, but I'm talking like it's crazy, bro.
To me-
They run I think over 60% of the phone industry,
Yeah.
and I mean I don't know what you contribute to, good marketing, whatever it may be, but
It's good business, good marketing, good. I think the green text is such a. It seems like such a small thing, but I guarantee you, it's a lot bigger than we even like. It's like a brilliant like. Even Donnie, who's all Android, he's acknowledged it. He's like, it was a brilliant thing to do to make it blue versus green because now you're almost
Separate.
looked down at where you're like, I'd rather like if you're stuck between the two, you're like, oh, I'll just do this one just to avoid all that other stuff.
bro, I could specifically remember when I got put in a group chat by some of my best friends since high school, some of my circle of friends still now, like our closest knit group. I remember there's like a group chat, like, hey guys, we're all gonna do this, we're gonna throw a party or like meet up. And I was the only one in there with an Android.
Oh,
They're
you were
like-
that guy.
And they were like,
Everyone hated you, by the way.
I didn't even know what the whole text message in the group chat meant when they're like, oh, green text. I was like, green text. I was like, what does this mean? Like, I
Have you
didn't
seen
know.
that meme where it's like, do you need me to let you borrow some money? When you see your homie pop up with the green
Yeah,
text.
bro. And you know it's sad that people are made to feel like
You're
they're broke.
Yeah.
if they have Android. But I mean, again,
Ooh,
these
he
are-
got the new Galaxy. Tough. Hey,
Galaxy.
I'll cover this round of golf, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Hey, you need me to buy you food after this?
Is
Hey, you're
that-
doing all right, right?
Is your tummy growling? No, I'm fine.
How's
All
that
because
top
of green
Hey, do you only
text.
have top ramen at your house?
I see you guys stocked up on top ramen here. This should look fire.
Oh my bro, it's my mom, dude. My mom's like, you know, your tradition. Hey, do you want to take these to the office, like just so you have some?
It's like good emergency food.
yeah. She and
Does
I
it ever go bad? I don't know. If top
I don't
ramen
think
ever
so,
goes
man. It's
bad.
like spam, bro.
This shit will just last forever. I got a
It's already
grace.
dried and freaking hard. It's just, bro. Don't tell me. Oh, this is East Side activity. Did you used to eat the top ramen? Open the top ramen bags and just eat them like plain?
No, but I didn't
lot
even
of
know that
people
was a
did.
thing. But
Yeah.
I do know a lot of people who did that, and I was like,
Yeah.
growing up, I was like, damn,
Yeah, that was
damn,
the thing.
y'all can't
like,
afford
I-
water in
I
here.
used
You
to
can't afford to boil a little
be
bit
like,
of
wow,
water.
it's getting really bad on this in this
is-
neighborhood.
This is rough. Yeah, definitely East Side activities.
That was our
We
trade.
actually had boiling water, which is kind of crazy.
yeah.
No, but I know people do like it, especially like it's almost like chips.
It's like the hot
texture.
Cheetos, nachos, like in the with lemon. I feel like type of vibe. Like it's a lot of people do it, but a lot of people didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. It was too messy.
Yeah. So yeah, there's our shut the fuck up of the week. That one's an interesting one because it can go back and forth.
Yeah.
And honestly, it can get kind of ugly.
But
we
yeah,
should
oh,
we should
100%.
bring in an Android person.
Bro, this is very the Android, Samsung, or Android and iPhone topic is very similar, I think, to politics, like Republican, Democrat.
You're
type
not
of
going to switch anybody's
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
We can debate back and forth. No one will ever be like, "You're right, I'm going to go to Android," or "You're right, I'm going to switch to iPhone." It's true. Like the more you argue, the more you dig your feet into where you stand. I've never heard anybody say, "I'm a Trump supporter, I'm a Biden supporter," and then they debate it, and
Yeah.
then they're like,
Someone
"Yeah,
comes
this
to.
guy's right. Trump's the right way to go."
I will
Like,
say this: I wish I wasn't an iPhone guy.
that's
I-
understandable.
because I pride myself on being not following a crowd, being so different. That's probably why I stayed Androids for so long. But once I made the conversion, I will say this: I love it. It's dope, and this is why they make it so simple. You could connect your iPad, your iMac, your iPhone, and no matter where you are, you can find your stuff where it's supposed to be at iCloud. And like, bro, my phone. Oh, perfect example. I don't know what I would have did if this thing got stolen at Coachella. My phone got pickpocketed at Coachella. I got a new one. Not one thing was lost. My everything's back to my iCloud without me
Yep.
even knowing it, bro.
Yep.
And I didn't even know this. I activated my phone. Did you help me? Were you the one that helped me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you helped me activate my phone.
Right here in the
And
studio.
yeah, in the studio. I always thought I had to go to like a T-Mobile or whatever to get it done. And everything got pulled to my phone from fucking space,
Yeah,
bro.
from the cloud.
Yeah, and I still don't even know what the cloud is. I guess I do a little bit more now, but it was all there. I didn't lose anything. I will be honest. I can't find the videos of me recording a blast at Coachella, and I think that's because it didn't load up because it got stolen right after that set.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. And just I am last thing to talk about this. I'm curious to read into that lawsuit that they're going through because it sounds like someone just got bullied out of like hey, these guys are dominating this market, but they're not doing anything. It's like if I run this podcast and I'm killing every other podcast, what are they going to do? Like, this guy owns 80% of the market. It's like, I'm working harder. I'm making a better product. I'm making it easier. I'm making it like, what's the illegal thing?
What's the illegal thing? I think when I heard it, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Let me try
that's just stomping on people's throats, bro.
The lawsuit filed in federal court in New Jersey alleges that Apple has monopoly power in the smartphone market and leverages control over the iPhone to engage in a broad, sustained, and illegal course of conduct. Now, let me get a little deeper in this. U.S. versus Apple, everything you need to know. The U.S. Department of Justice has filed a case. This is the U.S. Department, bro. This isn't just like other people. This is like the government. Filed a case against Apple for violating antitrust laws. More specifically, the case revolves around how Apple has used its lockdown iPhone ecosystem to build a monopoly. The DOJ alleges that Apple blocks super apps, suppresses mobile cloud streaming services, blocks cross-platform messaging apps, what we just talked about, limits third-party digital wallets, and even limits how well third-party smartwatches work on its platforms. This is the third time that the DOJ has sued Apple for antitrust violations in the past 14 years. And if you're wondering why it was filed in New Jersey, we might have an explanation for that. During a press conference announcing the lawsuit, Deputy AG Lisa Monaco said that Apple efforts smothered an entire industry. True. A response to the lawsuit from Apple spokesman Fred says, this is probably in your defense, the lawsuit threatens who we are and the principles that Apple set that set Apple products apart in a fiercely competitive market. That's Apple's defense. The DOJ's complaint made an even stronger case than I thought that they could, said Vanderbilt Law School professor Rebecca Hall Allensworth. She continued on saying, they told a very coherent story about how Apple is making its product, the iPhone, and the products on its apps less useful for consumers in the name of maintaining their dominance.
Okay, so here's my thing on that, because I still stand on where I was before. Because that is a double-edged sword where it's like, if I tell you, hey, if you listen to this podcast and you can't listen to any other ones, then that could be, people are going to be like, all right, well, fuck you. I'm not going to listen to yours. I'd rather listen to all these. If I make it to where functionality of an Apple Watch or something isn't compatible, then people have a choice to like completely leave me. It could have backfired 100%. But the way they marketed it, the way they did this, I don't see anything illegal other than stomping on people's throats, and I believe on that. I really do. Like, I think if you're not in an industry or anything to dominate, now it's very hard to do what Apple's done. They've got all the money, they've got all the resources and everything. But to be the best at what you do, and if you come up with a plan that's so genius that can also backfire. It's not like it was risk-free.
Well, there's some history of Apple stealing some Android, Samsung in particular.
So then
stuff.
that you have a case. But I'm talking about
they're comparing this to the 90s Microsoft cases where Microsoft monopolized computer software. When did you ever see any computer without it saying Microsoft right when you open it up?
Yeah.
So, but it was true. If you look deep into that case, Microsoft was essentially shutting out any other industry that tried to overtake the software or compete with that software. But there's no way because Microsoft had built their brand so substantial over everything else. And again, Bill Gates is a genius. Actually, Microsoft essentially was a stolen product. Same thing with, like, say, Facebook. I mean, MySpace, or no, Facebook. But yeah, there's a case. It's real quick. It says United States versus Apple is a pure nerd rage.
Yeah, yeah. I could, but that's interesting, bro. It's freaking. It's good stuff. Let's get to a couple things before we get to our trivia question. Cinco de Mayo, any plans? Now, I'm not a big Cinco de Mayo fan. You're like, Vic, you're Mexican. I know, but it just, to me, it's really like, to go do the whole put on a sombrero and just go, I'm going to drink hell yeah, donuts, fool, donuts, fool. Like, that's not really like, I'll go out and drink and enjoy it, but like, not really a big Cinco de Mayo. We used to have at the Crystal Palace when I worked at the radio station, we had a Cinco de Mayo, which is crazy because it was a country station, but they sold out the Crystal Palace every single year. It was the most badass party. At the Crystal Palace, they had, they're still doing it, by the way. They do like mariachis. They have Mento Brew, which is a really popular band in town. They have like, dude, it's so dope. I used to host that. If you haven't seen the video where I sing
where
like
I get jumped by all of the.
Contaré la historia de una famosa persona. Todos la conocen con el apodo de Chona.
That was a lot of fun, but other than that, like I'm
what
not big
events
on
are going on in Bakersfield during Cinco de Mayo? Is there anything big?
That one, but I feel like there's always like some kind of festival, like Menudo Fest or something like that.
No, that's gone. I want to throw some next year during. I got a plan. I'll tell you off camera.
That'd be sick.
Like big time. Like I'm
sick.
talking about the Cinco de Mayo fights will be there on a 200-foot screen.
I'm locked in for the
Canelo?
18th fights.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
We're in there like somewhere. Oh yeah, we could talk about that as it gets a little closer.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that actually. Yeah. Hey,
I think so too.
Surprise
bro.
fight, Vic D.
I'm all reading the card.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, you're like, and next up, fighting 350 pounds, 6'10".
This guy's fucked.
Yeah. And his opponent, Victor. And you're like, oh my.
Jesus Christ.
As they're locking the octagon.
I got you for 3 minutes of play time.
You're all dressed up. Like, while you're announcing it, someone behind you's pulling your clothes off. Like, you're like, how did I get these UFC shorts on? So
that's fun.
That is funny. Yeah, we're going to be doing something fun.
Yeah, well, next week we'll talk about it because that's coming up. That's coming up.
Real quick.
So Cinco de Mayo, no plans for it?
The Canelo fight, like, boxing's always my main priority.
Okay, so there you go. Like Cinco de Mayo, there's always the Mayweather fights. He always fought that weekend.
It went De La Hoya, then when Mayweather took it over, and then Pacquiao kind of helped take over that scene for a little bit when Mayweather wasn't fighting for whatever reason. And now it's Canelo all the way. 100%.
Which he's a clown. I'm not a Canelo guy. He's a bitch. But anyways, so Cinco de Mayo, other than the fights, then a big fight, big event. I'm not gonna do that.
You don't need to elaborate, but I mean, he's a dog.
He's a bitch dog.
It's weird. I think people. I just want to say this real quick. I think people have this expectation that because he's fought so many different people and went up and down, and he's went up to all the way up, I think, to light heavyweight. People think he could just fight anyone you guys want to. When you guys want to. Like,
what about the guy Benavidez in his own weight division?
Benavidez is not necessarily in his weight division.
He's close enough to make it work.
He is. It's just I'm not saying that fight shouldn't happen. I think it should, but people also need to understand that when Benavidez or when Canelo's even went up to say let's fight, let's say Bivol.
Yeah, what happened then?
Exactly my point. Bivol is a badass fighter, an Olympian, but he's a big dude naturally. Canelo didn't even make that weight. He was still under. He couldn't even make. Benavidez is way bigger than Canelo, if I'm being real. And when they sparred, they sparred before, like back in the day. When you're younger, your weight isn't necessarily an issue. You haven't even developed that weight that doesn't come off after a certain age, you know? So and then there's age and wear and tear. I just don't think it's gonna be I don't think it's a great fight anymore, but I think Benavidez has the upper hand in that fight for sure. And I think
that's
Canelo
why he doesn't
knows
want to do it. Yeah.
I don't think he's scared of him though, if I'm being honest.
Well, I mean,
mean,
I
look
just
at-
think if
he
you talk
fought
about like
Bivol. I
I'm the
think
greatest, I'm
Bivol-
this, and
I
that,
think-
like you shouldn't be afraid. I think the same. I'm a big Mayweather. I love Mayweather, but I
Yeah.
will say that I can acknowledge
He
that
didn't fight anyone when he was supposed to.
he was ducking the big fights
When
and that
they were-
pisses me off, bro.
The
Like,
biggest people don't look at this. Like my boy Mike, we go out all the time. He's like, Mayweather, look what he did to Canelo. I'm like, bro, Canelo was a 22-year-old
Yeah,
kid
he was
and
a
never
kid.
even fucking
Yeah.
knew what he was doing. At the end of the day, he was fighting people when it benefited him the most.
Exactly.
Not monetary wise only. Miguel Cotto was one of the scariest guys coming up in the rankings. And back in 2007, I can remember this. I think it was 2007. They were trying to make that fight, and it never happened.
yeah,
Super pissed off.
that was the first time we did that.
That was pretty cool, actually. I liked it.
All right, so that's last week we did
It worked.
guys on Taylor Swift, and that was a couple guys on boxing. So we'll check out those fights this weekend. Here's a segment we called "Wanna Feel Old." Mean Girls released, I believe it was today, 20 years ago, and it feels like people still talk about this movie like it was like released like 8 years ago, 5 years ago.
Like
Like
last
there's a
summer.
nostalgia. Yeah, exactly. I've never seen it. Have you?
Oh, bro, my brother's gay.
Yeah, that's true.
Bro, that was one of the first signs. Like we had that thing playing in the living room every day before we went to fucking school. Like what the freak was going on, dog? It was that, bro. I'm gonna go
Dog,
down the
that
list
is
real quick.
hilarious.
I'm gonna go down to Coyote Ugly, Mean Girls, bro. Bring It On. I'm gonna keep this going. Crossroads with Britney Spears. I'm like, what's it? Glitter with Mariah Carey. And the fucked up part is, bro, I seem gay watching these things now. Like, cause I'm like, oh yeah, those are good shows, like the good movies. and I'm,
Bro.
it was ridiculous.
I'm clipping this. This is the funniest. That might be a top,
Oh yeah, and
top
we could
5
tag
moment.
we could tag my brother, bro. It's just and the fucked up part is I have to explain why I like these shows or movies and watch them. And I'm not lying. Bring It On was one of the classics in our house. Mean Girls. I don't think this one's on that level, but Lindsay Lohan. What was it? Parent Trap when we were kids.
Parent
that was
Trap,
that was
yeah,
a good
yeah.
one. But yeah,
That is hilarious. Oh, I did not expect to go there.
Oh yeah.
I was so in my head, this whole bit was thinking about like, there's a lot of movies that are very popular that I haven't seen, which still holds true. But that is hilarious. You're like, bro, my brother is gay. We watched all this stuff, and it's funny that you say that because these are the things that like my sister would watch, like Crossroads, and that's a Britney Spears one, right?
Yeah, my brother, and now you think about it, Britney Spears is the most beloved person in the gay community. They eat her up, bro.
Taylor Swift too.
Taylor
now.
Swift is
More
kind of
modern.
but yeah, more modern. And then you got Mariah Carey, bro. My version of Mariah Carey, I was like, dang, she's hot and she can sing. My brother's version of Mariah Carey, like, ooh, bitch, get it, girl. When we were younger and I didn't know that yet. So I'm falling in love with all this Mariah Carey. He's playing all the time. Like, I'm
Why's my wee wee doing this?
yeah, but my brother was cleaning to Mariah Carey, and probably when we're looking away, he's doing little
All the moves.
And I'm over here like rapping the verses that are on, and like I'm like, wait a minute.
That is gold, absolute gold.
but-
So Mean Girls released 20
Shout out
years
to my
ago.
brother. Shout out to my brother.
Yeah, big shouts.
I love him.
So this one was interesting. So did you see the apparently there was a winner of a $1.3 billion jackpot recently, which is I believe the 4th biggest jackpot in history. Well, it turns out that this guy is he's a cancer patient. He was an immigrant who was battling cancer. Do you know how much he got out of that? Because he obviously took the.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Do you know the number?
I do know the number.
Okay, you said 1.4.
I know the rough number.
1.4 billion.
1.3.
1.3. So I'm gonna say, okay, 1.3 million.
I'm gonna get you that exact number. as
So
you
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I'm gonna actually tell you what I think he got, or what it essentially.
Well, don't
based-
start. You're gonna crunch numbers on.
No.
on
I
the
just wanna
calculator.
make sure I have just let me do what I'm doing.
Okay, I got the number.
Divided by.
He lives in Portland, by the way.
Anyway,
He's actually an immigrant.
So it's probably close to 700 million.
No, which is kind of
650,
sad.
700 million. No, really.
Yeah, so he's an immigrant from Laos, Laos, who's fighting cancer, and he took the money up front. 46-year-old guy, out of Portland, and he got $422 million.
Really?
Fucking insane. So essentially, the government just won $1 million. You know, like that's think
You're
about
supposed
that.
to be. You know what your options are, right? You take the lump sum, or you take monthly payments over like
Yeah.
the next 25 years.
He's a cancer patient.
Yeah, he's like, give me it all now.
I need it all yesterday. You know, like
Could I have won this amount?
yeah, which
Oh,
is
man.
crazy, bro. You never hear stories about like people. I feel like obviously he needs it right now.
Yeah.
Now imagine what if this is the thing. I want to keep up with this story, but because what if now he can afford to have like the top of the line treatment, and like we're looking at this guy a year from now, and he's like, I'm fully cured because of this thing, which is kind of fucked.
And
This
he
is
looks
gonna get
22 years old.
Yeah, he looks like he took the Fountain of Youth pill, and they figured out like anti-aging, which is a topic that I want to do on this podcast. Anti-aging stuff is crazy, but yeah, it'd be crazy that like, oh, now he's a millionaire, now he's cured. It's like, what would have happened if he wasn't a millionaire? You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. It's
Look at
I
Magic
get
Johnson.
it, but it's kind of like it's just kind of icky where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, if you're rich, you'll live. If
You'll be
you're not
aight.
rich, I'm sorry, there's only so much you could do. But I get it. I mean, there's a lot of angles to that, and things get political as everyone tries to make everything political. But kind of nice to see a guy who actually could use the money a lot going through that. So we'll keep up with that story.
Yeah.
Baby Reindeer, I haven't seen, but I mean, I've seen like one episode, but crazy show, crazy story, based on a true story. Even I believe it's the actor who acts in it. It was based on his true story, right? Do I have that right?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
The actor who plays in Baby Reindeer, it's his real story that actually happened to him.
That's what I had heard.
Yeah. So the woman who stalked him in real life, and I don't know the backstory because I haven't seen the show. She is now looking to sue for defamation. Defamation.
Yeah, defamation.
But she's the way she was portrayed. And I just think it's like a crazy thing. It was like, weren't you the stalker? Again, let me
Yeah.
preface it by saying I haven't seen it. So I thought she was
bro.
the stalker, and she was like, he was just telling the whole story. It's just like, now she's mad that the story gets out. It's like when you do something wrong, and it's just like, why you telling everyone?
Yeah, and the only reason she knows because she's still stalking him that there's this movie out.
Yeah.
You know? Because I would have trouble trying to find out, or like I guess if it's the actor in it, she would know. But I don't know, bro. I watched.
Are you done with it?
No, I don't want to finish it, bro. After what I
Really?
seen. Yeah,
now I want to finish it really bad. Now I
and
want
now
to finish it a lot.
I did an effed up thing that I didn't realize till after I went home, and I was like, bro, Baby Reindeer is a trip, like the stalker thing, and then the kind of it's like a mixture of a stalker and then like the whole thing that kind of went on with the Nickelodeon stuff. I feel like in the industry, entertainment.
Oh, it gets nasty.
Yeah,
like
it gets
that.
weird. But what I'm saying is, I was telling my little sister about it. When I say little, she's 18, about to be 19, but she's not a kid anymore. She's a kid, but she's not, she's not an elementary or high school kid anymore. So I'm telling, but also my nephew's there, and he's a kid. He's an 8th grader. And I'm like, yo, guys, it's crazy, like, blah, 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 blah. And then my little sister's like, I want to watch it. We're going to go watch it right now. I'm like, yeah, it's wild. And then my little sister and my nephew go in the room to go watch it, and I leave, come back to studio to get work done. And then I was here. I got to studio, I was like, I probably shouldn't have told these kids to watch that.
That you were wild.
Because I stopped watching it because it got pretty disturbing to me, where I was like, I really don't want to watch. I'm one of those people, once it kind of gets
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm like, this isn't even like something I would. I'm gonna. I don't watch a lot of TV anyways. I'm kind of like, I should probably watch some things more that we're talking about, like something like that. But yeah, you watch it, you let me know. But that girl is crazy, and if it's anything like that, oh man, it is wild, bro.
Okay, so now I feel like I need to watch it. I think they're only 30-minute episodes, so it's not terrible. I'll try to make it a priority. Before we wrap up, Lakers got swept last night, and we don't talk a lot you sports on here, but I just want to rant for a fucking second.
He got mad at me yesterday for asking about the game, and he thought it was he thought I was like,
I thought you were trolling.
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
Who won? If you look back, I said it so genuine, like, hey, who won, bro? And you're like,
I said, shut the fuck up.
I was like, Jesus, this is aggressive.
And you're like, no, really, we're in here cleaning the studio. I didn't watch the game, and I was like, oh, my bad. But I mean, Jamal Murray buries the Lakers again. The Denver Nuggets bury the Lakers again. LeBron and AD, they play well. The Lakers play well. They play well for 2-3 quarters, and then they give it away. And it just pisses me off. And on that last play, what the hell were the Lakers thinking? They throw it in. There's three. Okay, so it's 106, 106, 26 seconds left, actually. 106, 106, 26 seconds left. So Denver has the ball. Jamal Murray takes it up, hits a shot, hits like a fadeaway with 3.8 seconds, 3.6 seconds left. So, okay, the Lakers still have a chance to take a shot, but then they end up inbouncing it to LeBron, and then he immediately runs into the Joker, and then he just throws it up to someone else. They throw a prayer, and it's just like, what are we doing? It just pisses me off. But Denver's a good team. The Lakers are a good team also, and I just feel like they keep running into the same buzzsaw. This is the best team. Obviously, they won the championship last year. I believe they have a great chance to repeat this year. But I think because they last year they got swept, this year they only won 1 out of the 4 games. So that means in the playoffs, they've lost 7 out of 8 games. That is not a good look. Or 7 out of 9, or 8 out of 9 games. It's just bad, and it just pisses me off. What the hell is Austin Reeves doing guarding Jamal Murray? And I'm going to leave it at that. That's all I'm going to leave
Real
it
quick,
at.
I want to know is who are the other people in the playoffs right now? Because I'm not fully following this. I know the Mavericks were in it. The Timberwolves? Or
Timberwolves advanced. The Nuggets advanced. So now they're going to play each other. The Mavericks are playing the Clippers, and that series is still going on. I believe the Clippers are up.
Really?
The Clippers are up.
I was looking at the matchups with that, bro. The Clippers. When you look at everyone on the floor, it's pretty insane to see who's playing on that team.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side,
They're
same
old.
thing with no. Like Kyrie and them, bro. Kyrie's a beautiful freaking player, bro.
Mhm.
You see that clip where
And he plays good basketball too.
you see where he's that's funny, where he's like jumping up and it's like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, or whatever, and like he's falling down slowly, and he still is able to move his body to the side.
Oh yeah, his body control is freaking honestly the best I've ever seen.
Ever, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's almost insane to. And I seen this thing. It said if Kyrie Irving was 6'6", he'd probably be the best player ever to play in the NBA.
Yep. The skill is just unmatched. So just to wrap up, the Timberwolves swept the Suns. The Nuggets beat the Lakers. Now we're just waiting on the winner of the Clippers and the Mavericks series, and then I believe the OKC already advanced.
Okay.
Yeah, they swept the Pelicans.
Wow.
So Thunder are just waiting to see who wins out of the Mavericks.
So who do you think goes? Call it now so we could reference this back.
Okay, so I think the Nuggets are going to make it to the West. I think the rest of the teams are pretty young. I think it's going to be the Mavs and the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. And in the East, I think it's going to be the Celtics and I think the Knicks have a chance if they're able to get. I'm going to say Celtics, Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the finals are going to be Nuggets, Celtics. And it better freaking be that because the Celtics, they've just been so dominant.
I think Celtics and Maverick
I could see the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Mavericks, if they can get by this series, then they have a chance.
Mavericks has just always been there, bro. Like they've always been on that. Like they've always around. I mean, look at back when the history with Dirk and all them. Like they've always been a really good, solid franchise.
Yeah, solid franchise. So Lakers get it together. Last thing, we talked about it last episode. We were on the brink of going to Stagecoach. We should have gone. I had major FOMO. I was like, wait, we had the opportunity to go. We decided against it last minute, but now we know we should have gone. Morgan Wallen.
Day 3, just a day 3 would have been fine with me.
Even day 3.
We could have made.
We had the 3-day tickets.
We fucked up only in the sense of like we talked about it. We could have went Saturday. No, I was gone.
We could have
Saturday.
gone all 3 days.
No, I mean we could have, but I did the boxing fights on Saturday. But if we would have went, we could have left Sunday at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And made
or
it
we
there.
Could have even slept and then gotten there by 5.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Or I told you this. I would have been down to drive Saturday night after the fights, and we could have got there, slept in.
But that just felt unnecessary. We could have just slept in our own beds, slept good, and then just taken off.
On a Sunday morning. Yeah,
because things doesn't really start till like
5.
6, 7.
Yeah.
Like the good ones.
Yeah, because we could
You
have
know?
slept in. Left
And really,
at
just
1.
seeing Morgan Wallen by itself would have been worth it.
Not me, but I mean.
Last night we let the liquor
Okay,
talk.
no, that's not bad. I guess if that's the song.
Hey, all of a sudden he's like, oh,
What,
wait, he does that
who
song.
was Wiz Khalifa day 3? Do you know?
Wiz Khalifa? I don't know. He wasn't on the main stage though. He was on the smaller stage. So, but anyways,
It looked
yeah.
like a time, honestly. I've seen a lot of my friends literally, like on their stories, people posting each other of like just wasted on the grass, bro, like in their boots and hats and.
Stagecoach is awesome. So we'll see. We'll see, look about doing some content there next year. I mean,
One of my boys, actually, the one Dom's homie, they're like actors and stuff. He worked for this year's festival at Stagecoach, so they're on the go-karts and stuff. I thought of you because they're like, hey, he's with his homie. He's like, where's Cuz at? They're where's Cuz at? And they're like, Cuz is over there. And they point the camera to the KUZZ door.
I did see that.
Yeah,
I did
that's
see
funny.
that. That
Yeah.
was. Who is that guy?
Reggie?
Oh, is he here local?
No, he's LA. He's on some of the commercials you'll see, like on DirecTV, like stuff like that. He's
Nice. Okay, so that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for our show. I mean, fully loaded. That whole thing about like male privilege is fantastic. I think we could have gone deeper into that, covered everything, which we rarely get to do. That only leaves us with our trivia question. So before we get into that, Rev Nutrition, big shout out, big love. Go check them out. Whatever you need, our favorite product. The podcast is literally fueled by it. Go get you some energy, focus, mood enhancer. One of my favorite things about it is that hunger suppressant. So sometimes you wake up, you're like, man, I should eat a little something. And no, you shouldn't. You should take a little Define, and it'll cure that hunger, and you'll wake up in the morning feeling skinty, and you can thank Define for it. So go get you some of that. Find it, Rev Nutrition, east, west, north, south, Bakersfield, anywhere. There's one close to you. Use promo code I love you, say it back. Get you 20% off. Also, big shout out to Mattress Space. And as important as this stuff and your health is, sleep is super important. Go get the best prices, get the best deals, get the best mattresses. Mattress Space, Buck Owens Boulevard, right here in Bakersfield. Even if you don't live in Bakersfield, if you live somewhere else, I promise you it's worth the drive. Let's get into our trivia question.
Let's get it.
This one's good. Women read this 45% longer than men. Women read this 45% longer than men. What is it? There's a hint, but I feel like any hint is going to narrow it down way too much.
Yeah. Well, let's start with number 1. The Bible?
The Bible, no. So, okay, so I guess my hint was going to be like, it's not a book. It's not like a book per se.
Okay, then I mean, the only other relevant one would be like a horoscope or the what is that? We've talked about it before.
I know what you're trying to say, and that is incorrect.
Okay,
I'll give you one more guess on this
go
one,
ahead.
because even though it's 45%, women read this 45% longer than men. And I'm so confident you're not going to get it. I'm giving you a third guess.
45% longer.
And it's a big number. It's not like 3%. Like, it's 45%. It's a big...
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of like...
Think of like, you read this and you make a decision off of what you're reading.
In my head, I'm naturally going to a book. So.
Yeah, but you're not making decisions after you read a book. I'm talking about like an immediate decision.
Yeah, I know. Read this. 45% longer?
Yep.
Longer? The word longer?
Longer than men. So like they'll stare at it longer than they're like, huh. Like this is actually, if you watch me do this, if you're watching on YouTube, big shout out to you.
Like, do they have an eyesight problem type of thing? Or, I'm just kidding.
Not necessarily.
Do they wear glasses?
If you see me acting it out, that's kind of a hint. Ooh.
Cookbook?
Cookbook, no, but that's probably the closest one. All right, 45% of women read this. Here's your final hint. I mean, you're done with your guesses,
Yeah.
but that looks good. Restaurant menus. Restaurant menus.
You know, I was gonna say.
Oh yeah,
No,
you
no.
always say that.
No. I was like trying to think in the line of not necessarily like a menu. I was gonna say like sales, like deals on food. You know.
Okay, like an
not-
app or something.
Like a coupon, yeah, like type of vibe.
Yeah.
Not
Women-
necessarily a menu.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I
That
think
makes
you kind
sense.
of go somewhere and you're like, I have an idea of what I want.
Yeah.
And women are like, well, what am I craving? And then you go,
Female
you get somewhere.
privilege.
Yeah, and then you get somewhere, and then you're like, well, I did want this, but now I smelled this. Or you know what happens when like the waiter walks by to someone else's table and they're like, oh, I was gonna get the chicken, but that steak looked incredible. I want that now.
Bro, let's just go back to the female male privilege thing real quick, and then
Yeah.
we'll get out of this.
Mhm.
I think a lot of I can almost guarantee the psychological breakdown behind this is because men are paying and they have a better option. Like, ooh, I usually would get this, but I finally get to try the tomahawk steak because I know he's gonna pay for it. I'm not paying for
That's
this.
funny.
I swear to God, 100%, bro. I
I
remember.
normally get chips and guac, but you know what? Because Arthur's here,
Not even that.
some
I-
fucking dork named
yeah.
Arthur.
Usually I just get water or lemonade, but today I'm gonna
That's
get
me.
wine because this date that this guy's taking, I know he's gonna take care of it. It is what it is. Female privilege, guys. I'd rather be on your guys' end.
Hey,
100%.
and that's how we wrap it up. Thank you for joining us. This was a fantastic episode
That's good.
of
Smooth.
I Love You, Say It Back. Don't forget to follow the podcast at ILY Say It Back Pod across all social platforms, including YouTube. I'm at Victy Radio. That is our producer, Eric. We are in the Creative Haven, brought to you by the Creative Crew. Until next episode, I love you. Say it back. Que soy con los angelitos. I love you.
Peace.